Hi everyone, good morning. Welcome to Up with KREM. I'm Tim Pham.
And I'm Channing Curtis. Thanks so much for joining us on this Tuesday morning.
It's Tuesday.
It is Tuesday. We made it past Monday. Meteorologist Thomas Patrick is back with us this morning. He made it past Monday too.
Yes, although you had quite the travel experience, Thomas.
Yeah.
You were in the air almost all day yesterday.
So let me put it this way. I gave myself a buffer day at the end of my
Smart.
vacation to get back to work. Had to eat through that on a what took me 30 hours
But you're
to
here.
get back home.
You made it.
Yeah.
But I am here. I'm all caught up on all the weather happenings that, well, happened while I was gone. We had the snowstorm from last Wednesday. We had that 4-day-in-a-row stretch of below zero weather from about a week and a half ago. All that is now past to us, and now we're seeing a lot more mild weather. In fact, yesterday, hitting 40 degrees for the second time this January at 42. That's the warmest day so far of 2024 in Spokane. I don't know if we'll top that today, but we're already at 37, making for a very mild start to this Tuesday morning. A few scattered showers here or there for the inland northwest, nothing too heavy out there, but the rain plus some of the melting snow could certainly create some foggy conditions on this Tuesday morning, but that should be our only weather hazards today.
Well, we do have a couple of school delays and closings to tell you about this morning. The Cusick School District will be closed for the rest of the week, actually, because of damage from a burst pipe. And the Warden School District will operate on a 2-hour late start today. So we'll keep you updated on any other school delays or closings all morning long. Continuing coverage this morning, there's a new face on the Spokane City Council.
Last night, the council appointed Lily Navarrete to fill Council President Betsy Wilkerson's vacant seat. She will now represent District 2 until the 2025 general election. Navarrete is the first Hispanic woman to serve on the Spokane City Council. Previously, she served as Director of Public Affairs for Planned Parenthood of Greater Washington and North Idaho, and currently serves as Community Development Officer for the State Commission on Hispanic Affairs. In an interview with council members last week, Navarrete explained why she wants the opportunity to serve the citizens of Spokane.
I've been a resident of Spokane for 40 years. I immigrated from Mexico City with my parents in 1988, directly from Mexico City to Spokane. And I grew with the city. I grew with its ups and downs, with the infrastructure, with the environment, and unfortunately also with the discrimination that's out there. But that never lets me down. I actually take it as a strong force to continue representing my community.
In a statement, President Wilkerson said her experience and dedication to the community will be invaluable.
Also last night, City Council voted to change the rules on public input, and this comes after protesters shut down a council meeting 2 months ago. Last night, those pro-Palestinian chants were back outside of City Hall.
The people united will never be defeated.
But this time, the protesters were in support of an updated statement on the ongoing war between Israel and Hamas, but against council's changes to the open forum policy. Council members voted to apply a rule that states they're not required to hold open forum and can end the meeting at 10 p.m., even if that leaves no time for comment. Those opposed to the rule say it's an attempt to silence the public. Council President Wilkerson, though, says it's only to provide more structure. Voters in New Hampshire are heading to the polls today for the nation's first primary of the 2024 election season. CBS News correspondent Penny Commit has more on the state of the race from New Hampshire.
Today, all eyes are on voters in New Hampshire as former President Trump and Nikki Haley face off in what's now a two-person race for the Republican presidential nomination. Last night, Trump was joined on stage by former GOP candidates now backing him as he tries to deliver a knockout blow to Haley's campaign.
We're going to bring our country back with your vote.
Haley is hoping to pull off an upset later today with the help of independent and undeclared voters.
Do you want more of the same? Or do you want to go forward?
The former UN ambassador has already grabbed an early win just after midnight, nabbing all 6 of the available votes in the tiny town of Dixville Notch. New Hampshire Secretary of State is expecting a record turnout today with 22 GOP delegates up for grabs.
Nikki Haley's biggest weakness is that we don't know what she's going to do, whereas I know what Trump is going to do, and that's kind of the biggest selling point for me.
It'd be refreshing to have a young woman who's intelligent in the Oval Office and also not to have Trump come back.
While congressional Democrats descend on the Granite State to support a write-in campaign for President Biden, New Hampshire officials say they're now investigating reports of a fake robocall impersonating his voice. The false call urges Democrats to stay at home today, though it's unclear how many people have received it. Penny Commit, CBS News, Manchester, New Hampshire.
Prison sentences could get shortened for more than 1,000 Washington inmates under a proposal at the state capitol.
So last year, the state passed a law to prevent a judge from using an adult's juvenile pass from adding it to their adult prison sentence. But there are almost 1,400 prison inmates currently serving longer sentences because of their juvenile crimes. The law debated yesterday would make those people eligible for resentencing and potentially shorten sentences. Travis Comslat is serving a 51-year prison sentence for a 1996 murder in Spokane. He says his robbery history as a teen made his current sentence 17 years longer than it would be for someone in his shoes today.
I'm curious how, if you also made an effort to meet with any of the crime victims that were associated with this to see how these crimes have affected their lives.
Spokane Representative Jenny Graham, who you just heard from, says the state's taken too many steps recently to help criminals and inmates and not nearly enough to help victims and their families. Well, new this morning, police arrested a Seattle man in Pierce County for a murder in Spokane Valley. Spokane County deputies say Daryl Harris shot and killed 40-year-old Deshaun Crawford in February of last year. Newly released documents KREM 2 uncovered show that Harris and Crawford got into an argument just hours before the shooting. Deputies also arrested another man, Dwayne Parks, for assisting Harris in the murder. Harris is now being held on a $1 million bond. Right now, authorities have not said when Harris will be brought back to Spokane County to face charges.
6:08 right now. Let's take a look at your morning rush. More news in less time. At least 13 kids were taken to the hospital after a crash between a school bus and a pickup truck in the Tri-Cities. This all happened near Mattawa, about 20 miles outside of Vantage. The man driving the pickup truck was taken to the hospital with serious injuries. We don't know the conditions of the children, but we have been told that none of their injuries were life-threatening. Investigators have identified the remains of the last known victim of Gary Ridgway, also known as the Green River Killer. They confirmed the remains, known as Bones 20, are that of Tammy Lyles. Her remains were found in 2003, but police were unable to identify her at the time. Ridgway confessed to the killing of 48 people in 2003. New data from the U.S. Census Bureau ranks Washington the fourth most expensive state for groceries. It shows that the average American household without children spends about $270 per week on groceries. But in Washington state, that goes up to $287. And that's a look at your morning rush.
So while we've seen a good amount of snow in the last week, Idaho's water experts are monitoring what's left on the mountains and how that might affect our water in the spring and summer. Even with the snow we've received right now, the snowpack throughout most of the state still has a long way to go to get back to even average levels. Hydrologists say there is a split in the Gem State with more severe drought conditions in North Idaho.
Once you get north of the Snake River into the central mountains in northern Idaho, the snowpack really isn't there. We get very little moisture during the summer to grow our crops. So that's why irrigation is so critical to Idaho. And so our winter snowfall really makes or breaks the season.
North Idaho currently has about 62% of its average snowpack, and anything north of the Snake River is not much better. Snowpack levels typically peak around April, and so we do still have some time to catch up.
Still plenty of winter left to go, but the El Nino pattern feels like it's back this week, which is always characterized by a more warmer weather pattern. That's what we have already this morning. Rain plus snow melt over central Washington has prompted dense fog advisories for that region of the inland Northwest. There are those visibility reports. They're definitely reduced over the central part of the state, anywhere from Omak, 2.5 mile visibility there. Moses Lake at 3 mile visibility to the Tri-Cities, just a quarter mile out of Richland. Some more patchy fog around eastern Washington and North Idaho is noted this morning, but there is that rainfall. It is mostly of the scattered variety, but it is rain and not snow since our temperatures are at about 37 here in Spokane.